What's up, guys? I'm DK, and you're watching Pro Wrestling What If, the series where I look at the different what if scenarios as terms of the world that we call professional wrestling. When the Monday Night Wars came to an end shortly before WrestleMania 17, we were all imagining the potential matches that could happen. Although not everyone from WCW showed up right away due to guaranteed contracts from Time Warner, we did get some heavy hitters over time such as Ric Flair, the NWO, and Goldberg. One superstar that never made that transition during the time was the icon Sting, as he would spend the next decade plus in TNA wrestling, having multiple reigns as the NWA and TNA World Heavyweight Champion, as well as becoming the first ever TNA Hall of Famer in 2012. Sting's run with TNA would come to an end in January 2014, and the unthinkable would happen near the end of the year. Sting would finally make his WWE debut at Survivor Series 2014 by beginning a rivalry with Triple H and helping Team Cena put an end to the Authority, making his in-ring debut at WrestleMania 31 against Triple H, where he unfortunately didn't go over in the match. His next pay-per-view match would have him against Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Night of Champions 2015, where he also didn't go over. However, during the match, Sting would injure his neck after taking a buckle bomb and ending his in-ring career in the process, even confirming his retirement during a speech when he was inducted months later into the WWE Hall of Fame. That would be until Sting made the jump to All Elite Wrestling in December of 2020 and was medically cleared to compete once again, finishing off his career with the company at their Revolution pay-per-view in 2024, winning the Tag Team Championships with Darby Allin by defeating the Young Bucks. This week marks 10 years since Sting's final match in the WWE, and a lot of us have wondered what his career in the WWE would have been like had he never suffered his neck injury. So that's going to be the topic of today's video. We're going to be discussing what if Sting never got injured in 2015. For this video, due to the uncertainty of how many more matches he would have had, this will be discussed with 5 points I think would have happened if Sting never got injured in 2015. And if you end up enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share this to all your friends, subscribe, and press the notification bell for when future episodes get released, and leave a comment down below about today's topic or suggesting a future topic for an episode of Pro Wrestling What If. Point number 1. Seth Rollins still retains at Night of Champions. Many people over the years have thought that Sting was going to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and the plan switched on the fly, especially due to Sting already starting off his WWE career with an 0-1 record with this WrestleMania 31 match. However, Seth Rollins was always meant to win regardless of the injury occurring, as he was being built as the top heel of the company, having gone through guys like Dean Ambrose, Brock Lesnar, and John Cena during this run, and it was rumored that he was going to drop the title to Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. That was until Seth Rollins himself had suffered a knee injury in a match against Kane during the European tour and would be forced to relinquish the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, thus having WWE set up a tournament with the semi-finals and final matches taking place at Survivor Series to crown a brand new champion. The ending of the Rollins-Sting match would have likely been different though, as a big chunk of time was taken up due to checking up on Sting's situation, then having to create a new finish on the fly that would work around Sting's limitation, which involved the Scorpion Deathlock into the roll-up pin. The original finish would have likely had some sort of ref bump that would allow interference to take place and have Seth Rollins take advantage and pick up the victory, perhaps setting up more things with Sting involving a rivalry with the Authority, but I'll explain more about that in the next point. Point number 2. Sting's next match would have been Royal Rumble 2016. Although I just mentioned setting up something for Sting after Night of Champions, I don't think that would have been the case. During a panel at Wales Comic-Con in 2017, Sting was asked by a fan if there was any plan set for him after Night of Champions 2015. The response he gave was the following: "I don't know. I don't think they really had plans, to be honest. I had my plans. I wanted that match with Taker and would have done my best to make it happen." Judging by that statement alone, it seemed like there wasn't going to be a follow-up to Sting's loss, whether he got injured or not, even potentially having a match at that year's Survivor Series, which would have marked 1 year since he made his WWE debut. So the only logical place where Sting would have had his next match would have been at Royal Rumble, competing in what would have been his first Royal Rumble match, which was the one dubbed as the One vs. All Royal Rumble match, where Roman Reigns defended the WWE World Heavyweight Championship during the match and even had to start it at entry 1. This was also the same Royal Rumble match where we saw AJ Styles make his WWE debut, and it would have been awesome to potentially get one last face-off between Sting and Styles, as if we were watching watching TNA again. Of course, Sting wouldn't have won the match and become champion, as WWE were clearly setting up the Triple H Roman Reigns match for WrestleMania 32, but it would have been cool for Sting to not only be able to compete at WrestleMania, but compete in a Royal Rumble match as well throughout his WWE career. Point number 3, less matches in WWE than AEW. When it comes to part-time wrestlers, WWE will use them as special attractions and not have them on so often. With Undertaker during the final years of his career, he would wrestle at every WrestleMania but only wrestle other shows every so often. Brock Lesnar averaged around 6 to 7 matches per year, maybe a couple more when he held the World Championship. During Sting's run with WWE, he competed in a total of 4 matches, with the first one being against Triple H at WrestleMania 31, a match with Big Show on the September 14th, 2015 episode of Raw that later turned into a tag team match with Sting and John Cena against Big Show and Seth Rollins. Then it was the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match against Seth Rollins at Night of Champions 2015 that marked Sting's final match until he went to AEW. However, things were different when Sting was in AEW, because even though he was part-time as well, he had an average of 6 to 7 matches per year and even competed in 12 matches in total for 2023. It's unknown how long Sting's contract with WWE was as an active performer before the neck injury had occurred. Even though he was under a Legends deal until 2020, that deal was signed in 2016 when he was going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame and retire as an in-ring performer. So for all we know, his in-ring contract may have been only for a full year, and it may have expired shortly after the Night of Champions match. Even if he was on a multi-year contract, I can only see WWE using Sting for a few matches a year, unlike AEW, with one of those taking place at WrestleMania. Especially with how the roster was looking going into WrestleMania 32, they definitely could have benefited from having Sting on the show if he wasn't injured. Shoutout goes to Jackson Weingart, Jada Sanchez, Fox Starkiller, Lola Pines, Hayden Saravo, Skolchin, The Real Samuel Randall 1990, Quiet Ninja Riot, Mr. Randomizer, Wesley Conklin, and Modern Gamer 96. And the reason that they ended up getting a shout out is because they joined our YouTube channel membership, which only cost $1.99 a month. Not only do you get the shout out, but you do get lots of other perks, including early access to every single video and shorts that we produce on this channel. So definitely consider joining our YouTube channel membership. It will be greatly appreciated and will go a long way of helping out this channel a lot. So definitely consider it, but let's get right back to the video. Point number 4, Sting versus Undertaker happens at WrestleMania 32. Dating as far back as the Attitude Era, many fans have always wanted the dream match between Undertaker and Sting. When Sting joined WWE in 2014, many of us thought that we would have finally gotten the dream match for WrestleMania 31. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, as not only WWE had put Sting in the rivalry with Triple H for the event, but they had put Bray Wyatt in a rivalry with The Undertaker when he wanted to become the new face of fear. There was still hope for the match to have been able to happen at WrestleMania 32, but Sting's injury had prevented that and he wasn't medically cleared and forced to retire. WrestleMania 32 was a bit of a struggling build-up due to the amount of injuries that occurred with so many top names that weren't going to be medically cleared in time for the event. Rumor has it that Undertaker was originally planned to face John Cena at the event, and it was going to be his final match as it took place in his home state of Texas. However, John Cena had suffered a shoulder injury just before Royal Rumble and would be on the long list of roster members unable to compete at WrestleMania 32. So plans had switched to having Shane McMahon as the replacement and having it inside Hell in a Cell, even though he had already had a Hell in a Cell match with Brock Lesnar months prior. If Sting hadn't gotten injured and was able to be a part of WrestleMania 32, I do think WWE may have finally pulled the trigger and given us this dream match. WrestleMania 32 was already expected to have an attendance record of over 100,000 people, and giving this match would have helped sell tickets much faster. Would this match have been as good as the potential match pitched for WrestleMania 27 between the two? Probably not. But I can tell you that it would have been much better to see this than the Goldberg-Undertaker match at Super Showdown 2019 in Saudi Arabia. Shane McMahon didn't need to face Undertaker with the storyline going on involving Vince McMahon, and it didn't really make sense to put Undertaker in that position as he was supposed to be a heel in the match. It would have been better suited to have someone like Brock Lesnar, since he was very easy to hate and known to be a Vince McMahon guy as well. WrestleMania 32 might have been more memorable by just this dream match alone, unlike the real timeline. Just like with WrestleMania 18, the first time I watched wrestling, most people remember that event with the Rock Hogan dream match that had happened rather than the majority of the matches that happened on that card. And the fifth and final point Sting would retire with WWE and not AEW. Like I mentioned earlier, it's unknown how long Sting's contract was going to be as an in-ring performer. If he has the dream match with Undertaker at WrestleMania 32, he may have wanted to hang up the boots there, accomplishing one of the goals he was set out to do while signed with WWE and went out on his own terms. Unlike the real timeline where he ended up finishing his career with AEW since WWE wouldn't medically clear him. Sting had considered retiring when his run with TNA came to an end, but wanted to have that one WWE run to say he was able to work with the company. Sting was 56 years old when he was initially forced to retire from the WWE, so whether it was 1 year or multiple years, he would have hung up the boots once his contract was done. Sting had already wrestled for 30 years at that point, and his body was breaking down like all wrestlers at some point. He managed to do the AEW run not only due to having his neck healed, but being able to work mostly multi-man matches so he didn't have to bump so often. I mean, once in a while we did see him take crazy table spots in AEW, which, holy hell Sting, you crazy son of a bitch.